I never thought LeBron James should just shut up and dribble, but maybe Laura Ingraham needs to tell Aaron Rodgers to just shut up and scramble. When did Aaron Rodgers become Albert Einstein? He now bloviates about an abundance of topics in which he has the knowledge of your average DirecTV customer care representative. The more he talks, the more he believes himself. Anyhow, he just told us that, yes, indeed, he could have been Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s running mate, and that he turned it down because he wanted to play more football. So Rodgers decided he'd rather be MVP of the NFL than VP of the USA. It certainly pays better and you get more TV time. He determined that he'd rather save the Jets than save the country. Yo, Aaron, FYI, the Jets cannot be saved. Let's ask ourselves, okay, what characteristics or traits does Aaron Rodgers possess to make him vice presidential material? Sure, Aaron knows that every football team has offense, defense, and special teams. But Aaron also thinks that the three branches of the federal government are Congress, the Supreme Court, and the Pat McAfee show. Let me be abundantly clear on this. Abundantly clear. I want to be abundantly clear. I am more qualified to go on the next Mars mission as an astronaut than Aaron Rodgers is to be the next vice president of the United States. And I can't even spell NASA. And if this hump and a half mentions he is anti-vax one more time, I will go gambling mad! Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. And welcome to Gambling Mad. I'm your host, Norman Chad. Gambling Mad, as always, brought to you by the good people at Fritos. Picked daily off of Central California trees in the morning, straight to your retailer that afternoon. And by the amazingly refreshing taste of Fresca. Fresca is remarkable. It's refreshing. It's Fresca. Fritos and Fresca. It's a meal. Coming up today on the show, don't let the bed bugs bite if you're going to Las Vegas this summer. Former NFL star Antonio Brown has gone from penthouse to outhouse, and R.I.P. Red Lobster. What a shame. All right, but first, so you want to be an NBA coach? It's a great job until it's not. There's an old axiom: nothing is certain except death and taxes. Here's another certainty. NBA coaches are hired to be fired. And believe it or not, being named NBA Coach of the Year is pretty much a kiss of death. So many examples. The Raptors once fired Dwayne Casey after he was named Coach of the Year before he had coached another game. The Nuggets once did the same thing to George Karl. The Mavericks fired Avery Johnson 2 seasons after he was Coach of the Year, even though he went 67-15 and 51-31. The Hornets fired Byron Scott 1 year and 9 games after he was Coach of the Year. And the Suns fired Monty Williams 1 season after he was Coach of the Year. Do you remember David Blatt? He took the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals in his first season. Then he was let go the next season when he had a 30-11 record mid-year. And how about what happened this season to Adrian Griffin? In his first year as Bucks coach, he was 30-13, and they axed him. Heck, Doc Rivers has been hired and fired so many times, he wears a name tag anywhere he goes. NBA head coaches are the world's most expensive temps. Let me leave you with this long ago NBA coaching tidbit. In 1977-78, the 76ers fired Gene Shue 6 games into the season. They were 2-4 at the time. That's the season after he led the team to the NBA Finals. By the way, I cannot be fired unless I fire myself. It's the best deal I've ever had. A lot of you are in Las Vegas for the summer. A lot of you go there for the World Series of Poker. Speaking of which, I hand out photos of myself, 8x10s, every day along Las Vegas Boulevard between 12 noon and 12:45 p.m. It's just $5 a picture or 2 for $9.99. Anyway, where is everybody staying in Las Vegas this summer? Well, I'd like to remind you of some sobering news, and don't kill the pest control messenger, my friends. Health inspectors earlier this year identified bed bug problems at 4 Strip hotels: the Encore, the Venetian, the Excalibur, and the Mirage. And for those of you who do have a real fondness for bed bugs, just a heads up that the Mirage is closing forever on July 17th, so you want to get there sooner than later. Now, if bed bugs aren't your thing, here's another alert. A California man is suing the Venetian after being stung in his testicles by a scorpion while lying in bed. Michael Farchi says he woke to agonizing pain in the middle of the night. You know, the same thing happened to me recently after I watched Unfrosted on Netflix. But you didn't see me suing Jerry Seinfeld. Walk it off! Man up! My friends, Red Lobster. Red Lobster's going belly up. Now, there are actually generations of Americans who will mourn the loss of Red Lobster's jumbo coconut shrimp and petite Maine lobster tails and fish fry family meal and, of course, the Cheddar Bay biscuits. But I am not among the mourners. Red Lobster is shit on a shingle. It was seafood for people who couldn't get any other seafood. Here's my Red Lobster story. I was separated from my first wife. I understand that most of my stories start with I was separated from fill in the blank. But I was separated from my first wife. She had left because she didn't want to live with me anymore. Who could blame her? Okay, we weren't in contact for a while, and then she called to say she wanted to get together and talk. My heart just floated into the heavens. I was so happy. Then she told me that she wanted to meet me Tuesday at 6 p.m. at Red Lobster. My heart dropped to my ankles. Neither one of us had ever been to Red Lobster. If she wanted us to go there, it was because she was going to give me bad news and she didn't want to ruin a good meal. My instincts were right. It was bad news. It was a bad meal, and I haven't been to Red Lobster since. I will say this, it was affordable, but sometimes you get what you pay for. Let's move on to athletes, a cautionary tale or two on how to handle your riches and how not to go from riches to rags. Antonio Brown, one of the best NFL wide receivers of the 21st century, has filed for bankruptcy. Brown earned more than $80 million during his playing career. $80 million. Now, according to the Florida Times-Union, court records indicate that Brown has current assets of less than $50,000. Meanwhile, he owes $3 million to 8 assorted creditors, including $1.2 million to the truck driver he assaulted in a 2020 incident. The last 5 years or so, Brown has been a walking, talking legal pad wearing a helmet. He was sued for throwing furniture off of a balcony. He was charged with reckless driving. He was taken to court by his personal chef. He was accused of sexual assault by his former personal trainer. And now, at age 35, he tweeted out this week, "I'm broke, baby." Let's move on to another sad story. Shiloh Sanders, one of Deion Sanders' 3 football-playing sons this past season at the University of Colorado. He has filed for bankruptcy. You don't see a lot of college students filing for bankruptcy. I remember I owed $120 to Vinny Perrone my junior year, but we settled it playing pinball. Now, according to court records obtained by USA Today, Shiloh Sanders filed bankruptcy with more than $11 million in debt. This is the new reality of big-time college athletics. And this one involves a security guard winning a $12 million judgment against Shiloh for an assault at his former school, and then a security guard trying to collect that money from the safety's name, image, and likeness deals as a football player. It's pretty ugly out there, and as I like to say about gambling, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Anyway, if I'm Shiloh Sanders, this is what I do. I make this offer. Shiloh has a 2023 Mercedes-Benz. What college person doesn't have a new Mercedes-Benz? I might offer the security guard that Mercedes valued at $75,000, and agree to keep paying for the Sirius XM for the rest of the time he has that vehicle. Who knows? That might settle the whole deal. Sitting right next to me here, you might notice today, is a clock radio. It's more than a clock radio, okay? This is a clock radio phone. It's more than that. This thing has sat on my nightstand since the 1990s. It's made by General Electric, okay? GE, where good things come to life, where they used to come to life. This was made in the time when GE knew what it was doing. It was made in the time when America was ahead of the rest of the world. We made the best stuff. Well, except for cars. I remember growing up, my father had a 1971 Ford Galaxy 500. Okay? 7 miles to the gallon. It broke down after 2 years. Henry Ford, you can kiss my ass. But the rest of America made good things. Now, the question is this still good to have? Okay? Because I say it is. It tells the current time. Okay? It has music. My girl. Okay? It has an alarm. And remarkably, I told you it's a clock radio phone. I pick it up. Hey. Hey, baby, what's up? Friday night? Yeah, whiskey a go-go or Chateau Marmont, your choice. Hey, no problem. I'll bring the Hennessy. Okay, sugar. Talk to you later. That's actually my Aunt Pauline. I'm a married man. I'm not going to be seeing some other women. And me and Aunt Pauline are pretty close. We'll go to Chateau Marmont and we'll have some Hennessy. Anyway, all these things built into one. Now, my contemporaries and my younger peers point out, oh, it's the phone. Okay? The phone tells the time like the clock radio. The phone has all the music you want inside of it. The phone has an alarm. And the phone has more information in it than like 75 of the biggest libraries in the world combined. The entire world is in your hand. Why would you keep this on your nightstand instead of this? I'll tell you why. The phone is not your friend. This is your friend. It wakes you up, it plays your music, you make your phone calls, and you leave. With the phone, you are connected 24/7, 365 days a year. You're always connected. This is not good. Always being connected is stressful. You need downtime. You don't need to see a cat video every 45 seconds. You don't need people to reach you when you're on the beach or you're someplace walking between streets. The phone is overrated. I stay with the clock radio. Good tunes. I hate DJs. Okay, that was a really good song. I think it was the Spinners. Stick with the clock radio, my friends. Before we wrap up, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. Domino's Schmomino's. A woman by the name of Bree Corey brought some Domino's pizza into our office the other day. She works here. She is no longer with us. Domino's recently introduced New York-style pizza. Here's a thought, Domino's. How about New York quality pizza? Big difference. Okay, from Domino's own website, this is their description of New York-style pizza. Made with fresh, never-frozen pizza dough that is stretched thin by hand. It is topped with a melty blend of cheese made out of 100% mozzarella and provolone and cuts into 6 big foldable slices. Okay, let's take a closer look at that. It's made with fresh, never-frozen dough. If it's fresh, you don't have to tell us that it's never frozen. The dough, we're told, is stretched thin by hand. Thank goodness. I thought it might be stretched thin by foot. They use 100% real mozzarella and provolone. Impressive. Since it's Domino's, 80 to 85% real cheese would have sufficed for me. And finally, it cuts into 6 slices. You know, that reminds me of the old Yogi Berra line. He ordered a pizza. They asked him if he wanted the pizza pie cut into 6 or 8 slices. Yogi responded, 6. I don't think I could eat 8. Now, me, if I were at Domino's, I wouldn't slice that pizza pie at all. I would use it as a Frisbee to toss into the nearest dumpster. And that will do it for another episode of Gambling Mad. I'm Norman Chad. Hope to see you soon. And remember, if you're rolling the dice, to make sure they're loaded.
Gambling Mad with Norm Chad is written by Norm Chad and ghostwritten by Norm Chad. Executive producer John Scheinberg, Rick Barrio-Dill, and produced by Norm Chad and Rick Barrio-Dill. Associate producer is Bree Coury. Showrunner is Dan Telfer. Audio, video, engineering, and studio facilities provided by 360 Pod Studios Beverly Hills and Slap Studios LA. If you want to complain to Norm about anything, make sure to reach out at Gambling Mad Show, anywhere you get your socials, and at Gambling Mad with Norm Chad on YouTube. And if you really want to get at him, send a message to info@slapstudiosla.com. And big thanks to Tony, the special sauce, who truly is the boss. Thank you for the cookies and the treats. We promise you to make the post-production move faster.